ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो यजमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 4, Sati quits her body. Maitreya एतावदुक्त्वा विररामशङ्करा पत्न्यङ्गना सह उभयत्र चिन्तयन् सहृदिदृक्षुः परिशङ्कितभावान् निष्क्रामति निर्विशति द्विधाः सह. The sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati. Seeing her between decisions. Sorry, let me read again. The sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati, seeing her between decisions. Sati was very much anxious to see her relatives at her father's house, but at the same time she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the room as a swing moves this way and that. सुहृद्रजक्षा प्रतिघातदुर्मनाः स्नेहाद् रुदित्यश्रु कलातिविह्वला भवं भवानि अप्रतिपूरुषं रुषा प्रदक्ष्यति वक्ष्यत जातवेतुः. Sati felt very sorrow at being forbidden to go see her relatives at her father's house, and due to affection for them, tears fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Shiva, as if she were going to blast him with her vision. ततो विनिश्वस्य सती विहाय तं शोकेन रोषेण च दूयता हृदा पित्रोरगात् शरणैर्न विमूढदीर्घ्राण प्रेम्नात्मनो योरधम् अधात् सतां प्रियः. Thereafter Sati left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection. Breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman. तामं वगच्छन् धृतविक्रमां सतीम् एकां त्रिनेत्रानुचराः सहस्रशः सपार्षण् सपार्षड युक्ष मणिमन्मधादयः पुरोवृषेन्द्र तरसा गतः व्यताः. When they saw Sati leaving alone very rapidly, thousands of Lord Shiva's disciples, headed by Maniman and Mada, quickly followed her with his bull Nandi in front and accompanied by the Yakshas. Tamshi, Tamsarika Kunduka Darpanambuja Sweta Tapatra Vyajana Srag Adibihi गीतायनेर्दुन्दुभिशङ्खवेणुभिर् वृषेन्द्रम् आरोप्य वटकीतययुः. The disciples of Lord Shiva arranged for Sati to be seated on the back of a bull and gave her the bird which was her pet. They bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment and covered her with a great canopy. Followed by a singing party with drums, conch shells, and bugles, the entire procession was as pompous as a royal parade. ब्रह्मघोषोजितयज्ञवैशसं विप्रर्षिजुष्टं विबुधैश्च सर्वशः मृद्दार्व यः काञ्चनदर्भचर्मभिर्निसृष्ट बाण्ढं यजनं समाविशत्. She then reached her father's house, where the sacrifice was being performed, and entered the arena where everyone was chanting the Vedic hymns. The great sages, Brahmanas, and demigods were all assembled there, and there were many sacrificial animals, as well as pots made of clay, stone, gold, grass, and skin, which were all requisite for the sacrifice. तामागतां तत्र न कश्चनाद्रियद् विमानितां यज्ञकृतो भजाज्जनः ऋते स्वश्रुर्वै जननीं च सादराः प्रेमाश्रुकण्ठ्यः परिसस्वजुर्मुदा. When Sati with her followers reached the arena, because all the people assembled were afraid of Daksha, none of them received her well. No one welcomed her, but her mothers and sisters, who with tears in their eyes, with glad faces, welcomed her and talked with her very pleasingly. सौन्दर्यसम्प्रश्नसमर्थवार्तया मात्रा च मात्रस्वस्रभिश्च सादरं दत्तं सपर्यां वरमासनं च सा नादत्तपित्रा प्रतिनन्दिता सती. Although she was received by her sisters and mother, she did not reply to their words of reception, and although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything, for her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare. औरुद्रभागं तमवेक्ष चाद्वरं पित्रा च देवे कृतहेळनं विभो अनादृता यज्ञसदस्यधीश्वरी चो चुकोपलोकान् इव दक्ष्यतीरुषा. Present in the arena of sacrifice, Sati saw that there were no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha did not receive her either. Thus she became greatly angry, so much so that she looked at her face as if she were going to burn him with her eyes. जगह्रसामर्ष विपन्नय गिरा शिवद्विषं धूमपतः श्रमः स्मयं स्वतेजसा भूतगणान् समुत्थितान् निगृह्य देवी जगतोऽभिशृण्वतः. The followers of Lord Shiva, the ghosts, were ready to injure or kill Daksha, but Sati stopped them by her order. She was very angry and sorrowful, and in the mood she began to condemn the process of sacrificial fruit activity and persons who are very proud of such unnecessary and troublesome sacrifices. She especially condemned her father, speaking against him in the presence of all. देव्यौवाच न यस्य लोकेऽस्ति अतिशायनः प्रियस्तथा प्रियो देहभृतां प्रियात्मनः तस्मिन् समस्तात्मनि मुखवैरके ऋते भवन्तं कथमः प्रतीपयेत्. The blessed goddess said, Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all living entities. He has no rival. No one is very dear to him, and no one is his enemy. No one but you could be envious of such a universal being who is free from all enmity. दोषान् परेषां हि गुणेश साधवो गृह्णन्ति केचित्तभवादृशो द्विज गुणांश्च फल्गुन् बहुलीकरिष्णवो महत् महत्तात्मास्ति महत्तमास्तेष्वविदद्भवाम् agam. Twice born Daksha, a man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only finds no faults with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault in such a great soul. नाश्चर्यमेतद्यदसत्स्तु सर्वदा महद्विनिन्दा गुणपात्मवादुषु वादिषु शेर्ष्यं महापुरुषपादपां सुभिर्विरस्ततेजस्तदेव शोभनम्. It is not wonderful for persons who have accepted the transient material body as a self to engage always in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good because that is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet of great personalities. यद्वक्षरं नाम गिरेरेतं नृणां सकृत्प्रसङ्गात् अगमः अघम् आसु हन्ति तत् पवित्रकीर्तिं तम् अलङ्घ्य शासनं भवान् अहो द्वेष्टि शिवं शिवेतरः. Sati continued, "My dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of the two syllables Shi and Va, purifies one of all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envy him. You envies him. तत्पादपद्ममहतां मनोलिभिर्निषेवितं ब्रह्मरसासवार्तिभिः लोकस्य यद्वर्षति चाशिषोर्तिनस् तस्मै भवान् द्रुह द्रुह्यति विश्वबन्धवे. You are envious of Lord Shiva, who is the friend of all living entities within the three worlds. For the common man, he fulfills all desires, and because of their engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, he also blesses higher personalities who are seeking after Brahmananda, transcendental bliss. किं वा शिवाख्यम् अशिवं न विदुस्त्वदन्ये ब्रह्मादयस्तम् अविकीर्य जठा श्मशाने तन्माल्य भस्म नृक्कपाले अवसत्पिशाचैर् ये मूर्धभिर्ददति तच्चरणावसृतम्. Do you think that greater, more respectable personalities than you, such as Lord Brahma? Do you know this inauspicious person who goes under the name Lord Shiva? He associates with the demons in the crematorium. His locks of hair are scattered all over his body, and he is garlanded with human skulls and smeared with ashes from the crematorium. But in spite of all these inauspicious qualities, great personalities like Brahma honor him by accepting the flowers offered to his lotus feet and placing them with great respect on their heads. कर्णोऽप्यदाय निरयद् यत् अकल्प ईशे धर्मावितरे अर्ष्णिभिर्नृभिरस्यमाने छिन्द्यात् प्रसह्य रुशतीम् असतीं प्रभो चेत् जिह्वाम् असून् अपि ततो व्रजेत् स धर्मः. Sati continued, if one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut off the blasphemous tongue and kill the offender. And after that, one should give up his own life. अतस्तवोत्पन्नम् इदं कलेवरं न धारयिष्येऽसि कण्ठदर्हिनः जगदस्य मोहादिविशुद्धिम् अन्धसो जुगुप्सितस्योद्धरणं प्रचक्षते. Therefore, I shall no longer bear this unworthy body which has been received from you, who have blasphemed Lord Shiva. If someone has taken food which is poisonous, the best treatment is to vomit. न वेदवादाम् अनुवर्तते मतिः स्व एव लोके रमतो महामुनेः यथा गतिर्देव मनुष्ययोः पृथक् स्व एव धर्मेण param क्षिपेत् स्थितः. It is better to execute one's own occupational duty than to criticize others. Elevated transcendentalists may sometimes forego the rules and regulations of the Vedas since they do not need to follow them. just as the demigods travel in space, whereas ordinary men travel on the surface of earth, of, of the earth. कर्मा प्रवृत्तं च निवृत्तम् अपित्रं वेदे विविच्योभयलिङ्गमाश्रितं विरोधि तद् योगपदैककर्तरि द्वयं तथा ब्रह्मणि कर्म नर्चति. In the Vedas, there are directions of two kinds of activities: activities for those who are attached to material enjoyment, and activities for those who are materially detached. In consideration of these two kinds of activities, there are two kinds of people who have different symptoms. If one wants to see two kinds of activities in one person, that is contradictory, but both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendentally situated. Mahvah Mavah Padavyah Pitara Asmadastitam Ya Yagnasala Suna Dhuma Vartmabihi Tat Andatripter Asubrabhir Idita Avyaktalinga Avadhuta Sevitaha. My dear father, the opulence we possess is impossible for either you or your flatterers to imagine. For persons who engage in fruitive activities by performing great sacrifices are concerned with satisfying their bodily necessities by eating foodstuff offered as a sacrifice. We can exhibit our opulences simply by desiring to do so. This can be achieved only by great personalities who are renowned self realized souls. नैतेन देहेन हरे कृतागसो देहोद्भवेन्नालम् अलं कुजन्मना व्रीढाममाभूत् कुजनः प्रसङ्गतस्तः जन्म दिग्यो महताम् अवध्यकृत्. You are an offender at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and unfortunately, I have a body produced from yours. I am very much ashamed of our bodily relationship, and I condemn myself because my body is contaminated by a relationship with a person who is an offender at the lotus feet of the greatest personality. गोत्रं त्वदीयं भगवन् वृषध्वजो दाक्षायणीति अह यदा सुदुर्मनाः व्यपेतनर्मस्मित आसु तदाहं व्युत्सक्ष्य एतत् गुणपं त्वत् अङ्गजम्. Because of our family relationship, when Lord Shiva addresses me as Dakshayani, I at once become morose and my jolliness and my smile at once disappear. I feel very much sorry that my body, which is just like a bag, has been produced by you. I shall therefore give it up. Maitreya Vacha इत्यवदरे इत्यध्वरे दक्षमनूद्य शत्रुहन् क्षिता उदीचीन् निशसादशान्तवाक् पृष्ट्वा जलं पीतदुकूलसंवृता निमील्य दृग्योगपतं समाविशत्. Tah Samavishata. Maitreya the sage told Vidura, O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. कृत्वा समानवनिलं जितासनं सोदानं सोदानम् उत्थाप्य च नाभिचक्रतः शनैर्हृदि स्थाप्य धियो रसि स्थितं कण्ठाद् भ्रुवोर्मध्यम् अनिन्दतानयत्. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life air upwards and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life air mixed with the with intelligence to the heart, and then gradually towards the pulmonary passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. एवं स्वदेहम् एवं स्वदेहं महतां महीयसां मुहुः समारोपितमङ्क आदरात् जिहासति दक्षरुषा मनास्वनि दधारगात्रेष्वनिलग्निधारणम्. Thus, in order to give up her body, which had been so respectfully and affectionately seated on the lap of Lord Shiva, who is worshipped by great sages and saints, Sati, due to anger towards her father, began to meditate on the fiery air within the body. ततः स्वभर्तुश्चरणाम्बुजासवं जगद्गुरोश्चिन्तयति न चापरं ददर्श देहो हतकल्मषः सति सद्यः प्रज्ज्वाल समाधि जाग्निना. Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus she became completely cleansed of all taints of sin and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. तत्पश्यतां खे भुवि चाभूतं महद् हा हेतिवादः समूहान् अजायत हन्तः प्रिया दैवतमस्य देवी जहावासून् जहावसून् केन सती प्रकोपिता. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roll all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? Aho anatma anoha. Sorry. Aho anatmyam mahadasya pasyata prajapaterasya characharam prajaha. Let me repeat again, sorry. अहो अनात्म्यं महदस्य पश्यत प्रजापतेर्यस्य चराचरं प्रजाः जहावसून् यद् विमतात्मजा सति मनस्विनी मानम् अभीक्षणम् अर्हति. It was astonishing that Daksha, who was Prajapati, the maintainer of all living entities, was so disrespectful to his own daughter Sati, who was not only chaste but was also a great soul, that she gave up her body because of his neglect. सोऽयं दुर्मर्षहृदयो ब्रह्मदृक् च लोकेऽपकीर्तिं महतीम् अवाप्स्यति यद् अङ्गजां स्वं पुरुषं द्विद् उद्यतां न प्रत्यस्येदं मृतये परादर्तः. Daksha, who is so hard hearted that he is unworthy to be a Brahman, while will give extensive ill fame because of his offenses to his daughter, because of not having prevented her death, and because of his great envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. वदत्येवं जने सत्या दृष्ट्वा सुत्यागम् अद्भुतं दक्ष्यं तत्पार्षदा हन्तुम् उदतिष्ठन् उदया उदायुदाः. While people were talking among themselves about the wonderful voluntary death of Sati, the attendants who had come with her readied themselves to kill Daksha with their weapons. तेषां तेषामपततां वेगं निशाम्य भगवान् भृगुः यज्ञज्ञेय यजुषा दक्षिणाग्नौ जुहावः. They came forward forcibly, but Bhrigu Muni saw the danger and offering oblations into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, immediately uttered mantric hymns from the Yajur Veda by which the destroyers of the yajnic performances could be killed immediately. अद्वर्युना हूयमाने देवा उत्पेतुर्होजसा ऋभवो नाम तपसा सोमं प्राप्ता सहस्रशः. When Bhrigu Muni offered oblations in the fire, immediately many thousands of demigods named Rubus became manifested. All of them were powerful, having achieved strength from the Soma, the moon. तैरलातायुधैः सर्वे प्रमथः सह गुह्यकाः हन्यमाना दिशो बेजुर्ओषद्भिर्ब्रह्मतेजसा. When the Rubhus demigods attacked the ghosts and Guhyakas with half burned fuel from the Yajna fire, all these attendants of Sati fled in different directions and disappeared. This was possible simply because of the Brahma Tejas, Brahmanical power. Thus ends the fourth chapter of the fourth canto entitled Sati Quits Her Body. Hare Krishna. How was it? Are there any questions to start, or we just go with the purports first? What's preferred? Okay. Silence. Here also this first verse of this chapter starts. Lord Maitreya said Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati, seeing her between decisions. I think you want you are stuck with what is best. Choose between these two. Anyway, so here we can see that there is always a dilemma in deciding sometimes, especially for most important things. And here there was a very strange or very serious dilemma or very difficult dilemma that Mother Sati was going through. The war between Shreya and Priya. I think mm, her heart understands that she should serve whatever her husband instructs. So it's not good to go, but she has her mind that is demanding to go because she wants to see her mother side, father side, brothers, sisters, or no, no, basically sisters here, and also spend time with them. And so the Shreyas are bitter, like bitter medicine, and Priyas are like sweet and candies, not even medicines. Shreyas are the source of everlasting happiness, and Priyas are neverlasting happiness. We think there is happiness, but we struggle and we don't get it. Shreyas are accepted by intelligent people, and Priyas are accepted by instinct people who have instinct. They just think, oh, this is what I want, and let me. So we don't take a time to pause and think, oh, it's not going to work out, or even if it works out, it doesn't stay for long. So this uh, aprati purusham is used in the verse where it says, one who has no equal. In fact, Lord Shiva is uncomparable with anyone. This is what Sati felt. She felt very sorry about being forbidden to go to her father's place, and in that she was feeling shaking and very much afflicted. She looked at her uncommon husband, uncommon, uh, Apratipurusha, and as if she were going to blast him with her vision. Sometimes this happens. Yeah, sometimes we may call this pranaya kalaha. But here this is a different level because she was teared between two decisions what to do. Yeah, and here there is another meaning of aprati purusha is the person who has no rival. Since Lord Shiva could not be persuaded to give her permission, Sati took shelter of woman's last weapon. What is that? Weeping. uh, and then what happened in the third verse? It is said this. She started thinking, "Well, let me go," breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement. She went to the house of her father. In this third verse, there is mentioned this less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman. So sometimes, yeah, we may think, how is it possible Sati, who is mother, she is also called Jagadamba, who is the mother of the universe, how can she be weak? Yeah, because Prakriti, nature itself to be is to be compassionate or to be emotional and to be soft-hearted, not to be strong and resilient. So these natures, it's not saying something weakness of Sati Devi, it's mentioned about the weakness of a woman. Womanly weakness leads here to conflicts. Here, this is what in the purport Prabhupada says. Generally, separation between husband and wife is due to womanly behavior. Divorce takes place due to womanly weakness. The best course for a woman is to abide by the orders of her husband. Of course, in the times where we are, it could be not be accepted as it is, mainly because husbands sometimes are not on the moral conduct. They misuse such a disposition of a woman or wife. So misunderstandings might be there, but wife should not leave her husband protection because of misunderstanding. This is, yeah, because this principle is not considered seriously. That's why we see a lot of divorces or separations and all these things. And when they saw Sati leaving, then all the supporters or the disciples of Lord Shiva, they went. In fact, Anuchara, Anuchara. Anuchara means followers, those who understand the person or purpose of their master. Prabhupada is writing. Anuchara means not just who is just following in the back. Anuchara means those who can immediately understand the purpose of their master. So Lord Shiva, though he didn't want Sati to go, but he said, "Oh, it's up to you. Yeah, I have said everything. I said that it's if you go, it's not going to work out, not for your own welfare, not for your own good happiness. But if you want to go, you go." And Sati has decided to go, and Lord Shiva was not so happy, but yeah, he was happy because at least his followers immediately they followed. They understand the care that the protection that he wanted to give, yeah, can be provided through his disciples. Then it goes further, and then the disciples of Lord Shiva arranged everything, and then they took, and they finally went to this yajna. And then in this verse number 6, it's mentioned what paraphernalia are needed. Huh? Everything is needed. There are so many, everything arranged. Sacrificial animals, pots made of clay, stones, gold, grass, and skin, all are requirements, and that's. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions based on the 11th canto, 5th verse 32, sorry, 11th canto, 5th chapter 32, it is recommended Yajna Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Sumedasaha. This is, what is this? Krishna Varnam. Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pankastra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prarer Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. It means in this age of Kali, Krishna Varnam, the Lord appears in the form of the holy name. Intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of the Lord who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, we are talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. In fact, the whole purport of this 11.532 explains that how Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna Varna means Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we come back to our main theme. So, animal sacrifice is not for killing and eating, and all these things are also explained in this connection, in this purport. Brahmanas are entrusted with the performance of yajna were very realized souls. And to test their realization, an old animal was offered in the fire and regenerated. That was the test of Vedic mantra. The animals gathered were not meant to be eaten and killed and eaten. The real purpose of sacrifice was not to replace a slaughterhouse, but to test a Vedic mantra by giving an animal new life. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Animals were used to test the power of Vedic mantras, not for meat. So that is the position of the Sanatana Dharma, the principles of Sanatana Dharma. Unlike if you see other religions, they say, in fact, the Lord has provided all the trees and animals so that we can live. In fact, when I was asking someone, thou shall not be killed, what does that mean? They said, yes, thou shall not be killed means don't kill humans. I asked, but what about animals? Don't they have life? They say, no, but we treat them respectfully. We kill them respectfully. I don't know how to understand that. But yeah, how to respect while killing or yeah. So there is something to be, yeah, the more we refine our consciousness and improves our purity, then this question will always come. And then we are more careful not to do these kind of things. So when Sati with her followers reach the place, yeah, women as a class are very soft-hearted. Their affection and love cannot be checked by artificial means, and men are sometimes hard-hearted. Here we see that though Sati, his daughter came, that Daksha was not at all shaken. He was whatever feelings he had, he was very stubborn to compromise for her against his affection. Although she was received by all the sisters, uh, everyone were ready to offer a seat, but Sati was so much mm, unhappy the way her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare. So, this is what is the reality. Sati did not accept the greetings offered by her sisters and mother, for she was not at all satisfied by her father's silence. Sati was the youngest child of Daksha, and she knew that she was his pet. uh, but somehow, uh, because of her association with Lord Shiva, Daksha forgot all this affection for his daughter, and this very much aggrieved her. Huh? Prabhupada writes in the purport, the middle bodily conception is so polluted that even upon slight provocation, all our relationships of love and affection are nullified. We may have a very nice time, we may have a very nice relationship and affection and all these things. Sometimes when a provocation comes, and with this provocation, that's enough. The love and all these things are wound up in material dealings. Bodily relationships are so transient. In fact, when I was reading about the devotee care, in His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, he was saying a relationship which is based on transaction, yeah, transactional, which means I do because I think you are very important in my life because you will do something for me. These are transactional, yeah. So when that need, necessity, and what did he say? Faculty, necessary faculty is gone, then these relationships are also broken. So this we cannot call as devotee care. Rather, he said one should transcend such relationships to understand that one should give care for uh, prolonged lifetime, not just for now, but for lifetime. And it goes further, and then now she became very very sad, and she's saying, understanding that her husband is not respected, neither is invited. Oh, okay. And what about the yajna? There is no special arrangement, yeah, a seat, asana, where the devatas are, when they are invited, there should also be a place where the devatas are invited, and that is not there. All these things disturbed her very much. If wife's side do not respect her husband and insulted, she gets angry. This is what happened in this case. She didn't expect it can go so bad. After coming, she was herself felt insulted. Not because she got insulted, not that her father didn't welcome, but she saw that more than that, it was her husband was not. Husband respect is wife's respect. This is what we can see, and she felt very sad. The followers of Lord Shiva, the ghosts, were ready to injure or kill Daksha. Yeah. How can a disciple tolerate the insult for his master? So all who went there were so much disturbed, and they want to even kill Daksha, but Sati stopped them by her order. She herself was very angry and sorrowful, and in that mood she began to speak. She condemned the whole process. She especially condemned her father speaking against him in the presence of everyone. Uh, One who has developed love for Vishnu must develop love and respect for Vishnu's devotees. This is the prime point that is mentioned. This is fitting. uh, when Vishnu or a Vaishnava is insulted, one should be angry. Lord Chaitanya, who always preached non-violence, meekness, and humility, also became angry when Nityananda was offended by Jagai and Madai, and he wanted to kill them. When Vishnu or a Vaishnava is blasphemed or dishonored, one should be very angry. Okay, okay. What does that mean? Yeah, out of our humility, out of our sense of not to offend, sometimes we don't react, and that itself is an offense. Yeah, why? Because here we can see Narottam Das Thakur said, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. We have anger, and that anger can be a great quality when directed against a person who is envious of the Supreme Lord or his devotee. One should not be tolerant when a person is offensive towards Vishnu or a Vaishnava. The anger of Sati towards her father was not objectionable. For although he was her father, he was trying to insult the greatest Vaishnava. Thus, Sati's anger against her father was quite applaudable. Yeah, if you want, you can read purport 10. And then she started explaining the position of Lord Shiva. Maybe at least now you understand. Maybe out of ignorance or out of not. Yeah, If one leaves the envy aside, maybe there is a chance to understand things as they are. So Sati is trying her last. So Sati is saying Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all living entities. He has no rival. No one is very dear to him, and no one is his enemy. No one but you could be envious of such a universal being who is free from all enmity. Hmm? So Lord Shiva is qualitatively, in fact, here there is a word that's used, bhavantam. Uh, um, and how is it possible that you do? And being beloved of all entities, has no rivals. All these are wonderful qualities of Lord Shiva. In fact, it goes further. Lord Shiva is like a bee accepting only the good qualities of others. He is called Ashutosh, who is easily satisfied and offers to any person the highest level of benediction. In fact, in the examples given here, I think it is 12 or later, in the yeah, Ashutosh, the example given, and the examples are given is, uh, we know this Bhasmasura, and Daksha is opposite. Although Shiva has so many good qualities and no bad qualities at all, he found faults in him. Man becomes Mahatma by accepting the goodness of others' good qualities. So here what happened is, yeah, envy of materialistic person is, it is mentioned here, Nascharyam, not, it's not so wonderful. Nascharyam etad yat asastu sarvada mahad vininda kunapatma vadishu. So this is saying, it is not wonderful for persons who have accepted the material body as everything to deride great souls. So it's not so. If a person is envious, he will act like that. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good, because that is the way they fall down. Finish. Why is Durga Devi? So why is Sati? She is saying it is good. She is saying it is good because at least, yeah, when we fall down, then we realize our mistake. Otherwise, out of pride, because of whatever position, name, and everything we have, Shaurat, and that's why we may continue. But when once out of that, when ill treats a Vaishnava, then what is happening is that he will fall. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good, because it is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet, of the feet of the great personalities. Uh, is it in this verse? No. Okay. So everything depends on the strength of the recipient. For example, due to the scorching sunshine, many vegetables and flowers dry up, and many grow luxuriantly. Thus, it is the recipient that causes growth and dwindling. Similarly, Mahi Yasham Pada Rajobhishekam, the dust of the lotus feet of great personalities, offer all good to the recipients, but the same dust can also do harm. Uh, so, those who are offenders at the lotus feet of great personalities dry up, their godly qualities diminish. A great soul may forgive offenses, but Krishna does not excuse offenses to the dust of that great soul feet. Just as one can tolerate the scorching sun on one's head but cannot tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's feet. An offender glides down more and more, therefore, he naturally continues to commit offenses at the feet of the great soul. And this goes further. King Daksha was deeply engrossed in a misconception because he identified the body with the soul. He offended Lord Shiva because he thought that his body, being the father of body of Sati, was superior to Lord Shiva's. Hmm? So this is the cause of his offense that he made. And she said, Sati said, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of Si and Va, purifies one from the sins. Shiva means Mangala, or auspiciousness. Shiva devotees gradually come to the platform of spiritual identification that I am not this body, and hence auspicious life begins from that point. So, one who is taking to Shiva Tattva and understanding really, and are serious devotees of Lord Shiva, eventually they come to this platform that I am not this body. If, I mean, this is the purport. If he is intelligent enough, however, he should continue to act in the way of Lord Shiva, for Lord Shiva is always absorbed in the thought of Vasudeva. As previously explained, Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. Lord Shiva is always in meditation on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Thus, the auspicious position of Lord Shiva is realized if one takes to the worship of Vishnu. Because Lord Shiva says in Shiva Puran that the topmost worship is worship of Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva is worshipped because he is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. One should not, however, make mistake of considering Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu to be on the same level. This is also an atheistic idea. It is also enjoined in Vaishnaviya Purana that Vishnu or Narayana is exalted supreme personality and no one should be compared to him as equal, even Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, not to speak of other demigods. Yat padmam mahatam manolibhir nisevitam brahma rasasa vartibhihi lokasya yad varshati shashisho rithinas tasmai bhavan druhati Vishwa Bandhave. Hmm? And Sati is she's saying, you are envious of Lord Shiva, who is the friend of all living entities within the three worlds. For the common man, he fulfills all desires, and because of their engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, he also blesses higher personalities who are seeking after Brahmananda. So, it is clearly mentioned, and one should understand this. Even Vaishnavas also worship Lord Shiva as the greatest Vaishnava. In the purport, we can see in the last part of it. Even Vaishnavas who are above the ordinary and the elevated men in this world also worship Lord Shiva as the greatest Vaishnava. Thus, he is the friend of everyone, the common man, the elevated man, and the devotees of the Lord. So, no one should disrespect or create enmity towards Lord Shiva. This is from the 15th verse. And then, if Shiva is inauspicious, why personalities like Lord Brahma respect the dust of his feet and place that on their head, uh, and very garlands which are condemned by on their heads with great respect, those very garlands which are condemned by Daksha. Whatever you are thinking, hey, it's not so great. Why is Brahma taking to it? Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living entity. This is the conclusion of Vedic scripture. He is neither on the level of Supreme Lord nor on the level of ordinary living entity. As I said, so please, if you would like to understand a little of Shiva Tattva, you can refer to the 16th purport. Hmm? Purport to the verse 16. And then this is very important. Karno pidaya nirayad yat akalpa ishe dharma vitari ashrinbhir nibhir asya mane chindyat prasahya rushatim asatim prabhustej jihvam asun api tatho visrajet sa dharmaha. Sati calls her father irresponsible person. She becomes so angry and she says one should close ears and not hear such offense if he cannot punish. But if one has the power to kill an offender, his tongue should be cut, kill the person, kill the offender, and then should oneself kill. This is the etiquette that's mentioned. The question can be that Daksha could also defend himself by saying that since he was Prajapati, uh, the master of many living entities, and one of the great officers of the great universal affairs, his position was so exalted that Sati should accept his good qualities instead of vilifying. The answer to that argument is that Sati was not vilifying but defending. This is very, see, when situations come, then we are thinking, oh, am I offending or am I attacking? Here, it is very clear. Why is Sati acting so strongly? One may think, oh, is it correct? Huh? In the purport, we can see yes. Why? Because she is defending. If possible, she could have cut out Daksha's tongue because he blasphemed Lord Shiva. In other words, since Lord Shiva is the protector of a religion, a person who vilifies him should be killed at once. And after killing such person, one should give up one's own life. That is the process. But because Daksha happened to be his father, she decided not to kill him but to give up her own life. In fact, it is mentioned, if one is a Brahmana, he should not give up his body, because by doing so he would be responsible of killing a Brahmana. Therefore, a Brahmana should leave the place or block his ears so that he will not hear the blasphemy. If one happens to be Kshatriya, no? See, this is so much to know. One should not tolerate, first of all, Vaishnava Ninda. If someone is speaking. The second, Brahmana should leave the place immediately or block his ears so that he will not hear the blasphemy, because Brahman should not kill. And Kshatriya, he has to punish any man. So, should cut the tongue of Velier, who is speaking so ill, and kill him. What about Vaishyas and Sudras? They should give up their body. What about women, laborers, and mercantile are of same level? Means whatever the guidelines are there for Vaishyas, similarly, or for the Shudras. So much so that, yeah. So thus, since it is recommended that Vaishyas and Shudras should immediately give up their bodies upon hearing blasphemy of an exalted person like Lord Shiva, she decided to give up her life. Hmm. So we are still in the 18th verse. Maybe I'm thinking, shall we pause here and we cover the remaining next week, if that's okay? Maybe if there are a couple of questions we can pick up now, or we can even discuss mm, on Monday. What do you all say?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. This is very rich actually. So um, thank you, Prabhuji, for reciting and explaining. So
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it gives an opportunity to know the glories of Lord Shiva, to know the glories of Mother Sati, because to take, yeah, for us, we may think it's very simple, right? She did it very simple, but to give up life, no, is not so easy. Yeah, and in fact, yeah, she what she did was based on religion. It's not like just out of her emotions. So there's so much to cover. We'll maybe discuss one day.
yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Anyone else?
Prabhuji, one question.
Mm-hmm.
So see, Mother Sati she left her body with this yogic process. Like she is not an ordinary woman. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but as you said, when Lord Shiva opposed her not to come uh, to the function of yajna of Daksha,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
she did like normal woman kind behavior, but she is not a normal woman. Like she
Mm-hmm.
is a yogic. Like she,
Sometimes that becomes a challenge. So if someone is in a very, very elevated position, yeah, it becomes more, because everyone watches. Yeah, just like a big boss, right? Not everyone is seeing. There is no camera to you, right, or to me, but only people who are very important. As soon as if something happens, there is a whole media who's just jumping and then covering and all these things. Why? Because the importance of the position. Yeah, and of course here we are discussing such a wonderful Leela, because they are not ordinary. In fact, they are very, very elevated. Um, yeah, I think the word in English is not appropriate, huh? But Dampatul, what is it called? Married couple, yeah, maybe that's a better word, not couple.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and to your question, then what happens is, still we are talking about two personalities. It's not just only we are talking about God or goddess. We are still talking about two personalities who have emotion. That's why we talk about, when we are talking about Krishna, there are these five or even many melos, and of course there is Vatsalya ras, there is Madhurya ras, There is Sakhya ras. Yeah, ras itself is there. So definitely there is a ras also. And as part of these things, we can see how emotional a personality can be. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's between only Lord Shiva and Shakti. That's why this personal thing came out. But actually, we know that Mother Sati
Yes. Yes.
is not an ordinary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And one more thing, Prabhuji.
But of course, at the same time, we come across references where it is very difficult to understand the uncommon personality who is Lord Shiva. So even if Mother Sati is very, yeah, perfectly great, still Lord Shiva is uh, very uncommon, right? So just imagine someone not want to stay at home, who wants to be in a crematorium, for which if we hear the word itself, we go away, or all these things are there. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, very uncommon jodi that Sati has to maintain.
Yes, Prabhuji. And one more thing, Prabhuji. When Sati decided to leave her body because he heard the blasphemy of Lord Shiva from her father.
Mm-hmm.
So is it because of that? Like he heard the blasphemy of a great Vaishnava uh, from her father, or is it because of the guilt that she didn't
She
listen
already,
to?
yeah. So she already knows that Lord Shiva is such a great, who is always detached and is always absorbed in Vasudeva Sabditam. So he's always absorbed. So she knows the great elevated position of her husband. Anyway, that Sati Dharma that is there is anyway there, but she also sees he is not an ordinary. Yeah, there her position was more than just dealing like a common, yeah, a woman, ordinary woman or a wife. She was more seeing, yeah, she is worshipping Shiva like her Lord, right? So that's why.
Mm, okay, Prabhuji. So this anger is common. Like if anyone, I mean, yeah, someone who is close may not be our family member who is like
There is, yeah, the sense
talking
of
some
anger will come when activities that happen are sometimes not as per um, authorized or approved or the general code of conduct. Let's put that way. Maybe, yeah, maybe on the ethical point of view. So the anger can come, but then how do we respond to the anger is something here we can learn how Mother Sati has dealt is to take to the right course, what is possible, what's not possible, and deal in that way. But usually, when we become anger, then usually we really need time to settle and then, you know, uh, deal, which usually we don't
Mm.
do. Yeah, that is a challenge of yeah, just like fire. Yeah, when you turn on a lighter, yeah, the fire is coming. If you know how to handle the fire, then you can handle the fire better. Otherwise, yeah, it's quite dangerous and risky. But of course, does it mean that there is no chance that I never need to handle fire? We never know, right? A fire can always happen. Yeah, there will always be this. What do you call this drills called? Fire accident drills. Yeah,
fire drill.
fire drills happen. Yeah, you may think, hey, fire will never come. But the people who are stuck in fire accidents, they die.
Mm.
So we may think anger will not come. Let's not handle it. No, we need to know how to handle the anger. The best thing is to be very communicative. That's first thing. But again, when we do communication, when to, yeah, there are so many psychologists who say don't communicate when you're anger. Yeah, let things settle. But yeah, so many things goes. It's a case to case, and one have to understand how to handle the emotion that we go through. Mm. Better is, yeah, someone may say, hey, why to get into it? Why to do all these things? Anyway, we are devotees, they are devotees, all will go on its own. Why should we unnecessarily get? But we can see in the purports, Prabhupada approved the dealing of sati to be in anger and handle that way. Sometimes we may think, shanti, shanti, shanti is the best thing. Yeah, here we can see that no, offend when one is offended. Yeah, even in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw that Nityananda Prabhu and Hardas Thakur were offended by Jagai Madai, yeah,
Mm.
immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested Sudarshan Chakra to kill, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So anger has its purpose, but of course, yeah, we need
Yeah,
to,
sometimes it's legitimate to
yeah, yeah.
have this anger.
But the pity is that person may not think it's legitimate. That's what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. The person may think, hey, it's not legitimate because we think, hey, everyone is prone to anger, emotional rather than real, not able to respond but only react. All these things, na, if unless one person appreciates the other person anger for his own good or her own good, he will always think, oh, that anger is not right.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
Now,
one has
sometimes
to.
we mostly stay in I mean, we tend to stay in the devotee circle, but
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah. Yeah, we intentionally choose to be in devotee
when
circle
people,
so that we can be saved by these effects of anger. But we also need to see what activities that we do or others do which can mm, bring the circumstances of one's own anger or others' anger.
yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. And how to handle is what we can learn from this nice pastime. Yeah, anger is coming, what to do, and yeah, how to act. Yeah, case to case. Okay, Prabhu, I'll not hold. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
already an hour.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Prabhuji.
we'll talk next week. Yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, tomorrow morning, 7:30, there is no class. And Sunday also there won't be class. So this weekend there is no class. I would appreciate if someone has time, can you reach out to Satish Prabhu? I don't know if he's there. Parth Prabhu, everyone, please. Yeah, I think he's looking into mm, making some material that media what we need for Insta or YouTube. I don't know. He is looking into that, and he needs really some help. If someone has time, please ping. Yeah, you can ping me, or even if Satish Prabhu is there, if you have the number, please reach out to him, and we can make use of this weekend still hearing to something, making something. So yeah, it's up to you when what time you want to meet. You can meet, or yeah, something. I don't know if Satish Prabhu left or is there.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm here, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So maybe if such a situation can be made so that whoever is interested, they get a chance to hear what it is. It's not a huge thing. I think we are doing in our day-to-day life. But maybe how we can make this reaching more people. Yeah, for that I think too much on one hand. Mm.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah,
looking for some support. I understand.
yeah. Thank you for bringing this up, Prabhuji. So maybe,
And maybe you can use the Saturday and Sunday for that purpose.
yeah, yes, Prabhuji. So I think people can reach to me and I will add them to a group and shortly,
Yeah. Explain what it is. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Is someone interested? Someone has time? I think Pratik Prabhu already volunteered. The only thing is we are not making best of his enthusiasm. And someone is
Yes, Prabhuji, you can. I mean, Satish Prabhu is already in contact with me. So, although this weekend I'm also going out, so but I will connect him.
Vanchakal Sarabhyas